under the age of 18 are said to be twice as likely to be killed on our roads compared to any other part of the world. The paper, entitled Road Fatalities Impacting Children, was released at this week's 2018 Southern African Transport Conference that's taking place in Pretoria. Let's unpack these findings now with Ali Jan-mohammed from the Prevention of Injuries Impacting Children in South Africa. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for coming in this morning in our Pretoria studios. Just firstly, just to get an understanding, your research on road deaths, how they affect children, is it an ongoing research? Is it an ongoing project? Or was this a once-off to feed into this year's Southern African Transport Conference?
Good morning. Thank you for having me at this channel today morning. Our research is an ongoing research. We have been funded by UNICEF. I work for an organization called Child Safe, and we are established in Cape Town since 1978. What we aim to do is we aim to prevent intentional and unintentional injuries that impact children in South Africa. And the research that I'm doing, which is particularly related to road injuries impacting children in South Africa, is one that is ongoing, and it's continuing till next year, April. Now, so currently we are trying to understand and look. Yes.
No, sorry. Yeah, I was saying this research that you presented, or part of the findings you presented at this conference that's ongoing in Pretoria, has really revealed some shocking stats. For you, what are the key findings you can share with us?
I think our key findings in this case is that the majority of children that are being killed are pedestrians, and they constitute of 64% of child fatalities. But this is because 70% of our children walk on roads that are not meant to be oriented for them. So that is one of the key findings from our research. So the more time you spend, what we found is that 64% of children walk more than 15 minutes or more to access education. And therefore they spend more time on the road, and therefore they are more likely to be killed on the road. Therefore, what we try to implying here is that we need pedestrian-oriented infrastructure as well to help them access education easily.
Okay, now you mentioned pedestrians, child passengers. We know that in South Africa, year in and year out, there are campaigns to make sure that children are buckled up. What are the stats showing you in relation to fatalities of child passengers?
So when we look at children as a whole, we find that child pedestrians constitute the majority, and the passengers are the second most vulnerable road user on the road. So child road passengers constitute of 34% of road fatalities in South Africa. And what we particularly find interesting is that it's not minibus taxis that put our children on in trouble, but it's private car users that are putting our children on trouble in the road. So our analysis found that 600 of fatalities were caused by private cars, and only 150 of these, 150 then were caused by minibus taxis. So car drivers are killing 4 times more children than minibus taxi users.
High-risk areas, which would they be in South Africa? Where are children more likely to be killed on our roads?
So our research has still not reached there to find out exactly where, but I performed some research in 2017 in Cape Town, and what I found is that road users, particularly from low-income areas such as Kailicha, Mitchell's Plain and Blue Downs, are the ones that constitute the majority of fatalities, because people from these areas are low-income household people, and therefore they cannot afford to drive or own a car. So they are the pedestrians who are walking on our roads that are not oriented towards a pedestrian infrastructure, you know.
Okay, finally, you also found some interesting stats regarding the difference in terms of road fatalities in children between males and females, and also the time of the week where most fatalities would occur on our roads.
Yes, what we found generally overall is males are 3 to 4 times more likely to be killed on the road than females. This is because male children have a tendency of taking more risks than females. So an area that has a higher number of male child population is an area that is at a high risk. The second one that you spoke about is very interesting for us, but what we found is that if you take the weekday into consideration, we find that child pedestrians or passengers are being killed after 2 o'clock on a weekday. So from 2 to 7 p.m. that's when our children are vulnerable. But when you take the weekend into consideration, it's 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. when our children are particularly vulnerable. So what we conclude from this, it's after school activities that are placing our children at risk, and also that our children are at risk when they are going from school to home rather than going from home to school.
Now, finally, Mr. Jan-Mohammed, how do you hope your research, your findings, would help us prevent these injuries and fatalities that are impacting our children on our roads?
First of all, what we want to do is advocate this problem of road fatalities. Currently, the situation in South Africa is very bad, where road fatalities are increasing every year. What we want to advocate for is to ensure that road fatalities at least decrease every year. The second part that we want to look at, we want to understand what's the current road safety status quo with children, who are being killed, how many are being killed, and what factors are influencing them. And based on these factors, we are going to come up with interventions that will help South Africa in order to stop this problem from increasing anymore. However, we need everyone to buy into this idea. We need the politicians, we need our planners, we need our engineers, and we also need people, everyday road users, to buy in and adapt their behavior to prevent this injury from happening.
Thank you very much, sir. That's Ali Jan-Mohammed. He's a project manager with the prevention of injuries that are impacting children in South Africa, sharing with us some of the insights coming out of the research that's ongoing.